This is Michelle Sisler, owner of Keys to Imagination, and today I would like to welcome Sally Ritchie. Sally is a private music instructor and expert in creating games to teach music concepts. She holds a patent on an entire line of games, and today we are lucky to have her show us some of her tried and true ways for teaching and reinforcing note identification.
Thank you, Michelle. I have been teaching for almost 50 years, and I still have a very large studio. There are times when students come unprepared for lessons, and I think I have heard just about every excuse in the book after all these years, and I'm sure that's happened to you too. I think we have two choices. When students come and they don't know their music, you have a choice of practicing with them and spending most of the lesson or all of it trying to help them learn that song. Or you can try to determine what caused the problem and address the issue rather than the music. I have found often there is an underlying reason that they are not prepared. Much of the time it is because they are not reading it easily enough. It's not that they can't read music, but just not easily enough. And I have found that there are many of our students that can really fool us for quite a while. We have got some students that have very good ears, and especially if they're in a situation where older siblings also play the piano or play their instrument, they can convince someone to play that for them, and then they can just copy it. That works just fine when the music is easy enough, but then when the music gets difficult, we have these students that just all of a sudden are not prepared, they're not trying, they're not practicing, and we can't figure out why. There are a couple of things that I do to try to determine if that is the issue, and I have had students that were quite old or quite advanced that almost did fool me a bit, because I found that if I would ask them to start in the middle of a phrase, that wasn't possible for them. They wanted to go to the beginning or the beginning of a section. That's a really good clue that they're just not reading in there, that they need their ear to do it. I've also had students that will start in the wrong hand position and never notice it. They'll play a whole section of a song, or maybe a whole song in the easier ones, and not realize that they are not in the right spot in the music. So to combat that and to try to get students prepared so that when the music gets harder, they're up for the challenge, I find it's very important how I start them out with the note reading. I often use a board, a blank staff board, and I have a big magnetic one in my room. And so what I will do is give them a pencil and paper, and we start playing Find the Secret Hidden Word. I have secret hidden everythings there. And I tell the kids I'm trying to trick them, so they have to try really hard because I'm going to get them. I will spell a word. One of my favorite ones is Dad, because they love seeing what Dad looks like on the staff. But they write the word down, and then they have to go to the keyboard, and they have to spell it on there. So they put markers, and you have to be careful that these are big enough that they don't fall through the keys. That can give you problems. So they spell on Dad on the keyboard, and they're always quite happy to go home and show Dad what he looks like in music as well. But we just keep going through different words like this. I let the words get a little longer as we go, and if they need help, I help them think about how to figure out the note names. And in this way, I can tell if there's any kind of disconnect on the staff, or if it is on key names. Before we stop, I always throw a couple of really long ones in. If they are moving along pretty well, I always end up with cabbage or baggage, and I tell them, I'm sure I've got them fooled on this secret hidden word. And then they're always very happy that I didn't get to trick them. I do another thing called a note relay race. I will take a team of kids, usually 3 or 4 kids, and we work in teams. I have a large studio, so I keep a chart with the team names, and we record their times. We generally will play for about 10 minutes, and there are 4 stations in this. At the beginning station, and this is a no talking game, so I kind of like that. The beginning station has a list of words. And the first player is holding a deck of flashcards, or I've got noteworthy cards because I use noteworthy a lot and they're handy. But the first person has to look at the word, and they have to search through here and get out the cards that spell the word that's on the list. So once that person has spelled the word here, the next player comes and figures out what this spells. He then goes to the piano, marks it on the keyboard, and the last person has to write down what this word was. At the end of the 10-minute time, or however long I decide to play, we see how many words at the end match the beginning list. And they get a point for every word. The idea is they want to get the most words in 10 minutes that they can get, and then every week we try to improve that. Every couple of minutes I ring a bell and they have to switch jobs. So I can see which students are struggling in what aspect of note reading, and that helps me know how to help them. I have also made a lot of good use of music apps. Things like Flash Note Derby, Note Rush. I use online web-based games that Sprout Beat and Carol Matz's interactive piano as assignments to do on the computer or in lab time too. But one of my favorite things to go to is just the noteworthy game. After they've worked on identification, then I want to drill it so that they just get faster. And that is the key to it. They need to read easily. Students just compete using note names to spell words. It's a fast game, probably about 5 minutes. There's another game in it, it's called Crosswordy, a little more like 10 minutes. What'd you get? A is the one you want to get.
All cows eat grass. Boy, I got an A.
You did. Where are you going to put it?
Here.
Ah, shoot. I thought maybe you'd take one of the 3-pointers. You're up to 11.
F A C E F.
Good job, man. Do you do face or all cows?
Face.
Okay, spell face for me.
A.
A, so it's an A, right? All cows, is that the cow's tail or is it face?
Cow's tail.
Okay, what's your bottom space?
No.
All. What does all start with?
A.
Okay, then if that's A, you have to go down one. So what is that?
B.
Other way. You went up.
G.
But these games are just great ways to drill note names. The kids love the games. They'll ask you to play more. And so it's a treat to them to get a game. I get drilling, the B word. They get faster note reading. We're all happy.
Thanks, Sally, for sharing these ideas for helping students learn and reinforce their note names. Order these products and subscribe to our newsletter for exclusive content, specials, and webinars at keystoimagination.com.